Hello again, Pats pals and football friends. Your chum Nick Fitzy Stevens here on another weekly edition where we talk New England Patriots football, propositional bets, best bets, parlay picks, overs, unders, teasers, and everything with my pal Steve Dakota Happus right up here on Dick Picks. It is the show that always promises to let you know.
See, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Who wants to fuck around and find out? Here we go. Man, there is nothing that gets me hyped more than shitty, cheap graphics and even worse, stock music. What's up, everybody? Your old pal, Nick Fitzy Stevens, coming to you from the old Fitzatorium here, alongside my guy, Steve Dakota Happus, the cash bomb himself. I'm at Fitzy GFY. He's at Dakota Happus. We apologize for having to skip out on the Week 5 edition of the appropriately named Dick Picks, brought to you by our friends at Underdog Fantasy. If you guys aren't using Underdog Fantasy yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. It is the place for best ball fantasy. You can bet pick'em style on all the major sports and then some. You know, we like to dole out our prop bets, which they call the pick'ems every week. If you sign up now, go to underdogfantasy.com, promo code FITZY. That'll get you up to a $100 match back on your initial deposit. And considering that Massachusetts cannot get its head out of its proverbial, yeah, I know. We know what's involved. We know where it's at until at least 2023. This is one of the best ways for you guys to be able to put a little action for scratching on the weekends. They don't allow college football betting, pick'em style, and with DFS in Massachusetts, but you can do it this way because it qualifies as DFS. So log on, underdogfantasy.com, promo code FITZY, and let's get it on. Hello to everyone who's joined us in the chat so far this morning or this afternoon. Happy with Zappe, Mac to the back. We're going to discuss that in just a couple minutes. First, Dakota, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good, and I just want to say it was my fault that we missed last week. Had a little bit of a medical emergency scare. I'm not sure what it is. Who knows? Because as you get older, things just happen. And I just try to be proactive and didn't want to be on a live stream and drop dead. So I decided to check myself into the doctors and get some tests run. And they said everything is kind of okay. So
you know what? That's pretty much, okay. Look, when you're at our particular age, I think we can both be completely honest that if you go to the doctors and he says, yeah, you know what? You're kind of okay. That's good enough. That's really good enough.
I was better than the other guy that they wheeled in to get a CAT scan as I'm sitting there at the good old South Shore, and they were great. They took me as soon as I walked in and had me out of there. I got in and out of that ER in the ER process with all tests within like 3 hours, which might be a record for like an ER room going through all that stuff. But they wheeled the guy in on a stretcher, and all you could see was blood and his whole head wrapped. And I'm like, thank God I'm not that guy. So
was it Jared
something? Okay, potentially could have been. It might have been. But anyways, we're here. Fitzy made sure that I was okay. Thank you, Fitzy, for looking out for my interests. Gladly I'm okay. I did tweet out last week. I had one big lock, and that was the Raiders on Monday night over Kansas City.
I liked that one too. And Dakota, I got a Monday nighter this week as well. I don't want to tease out my best, worst bets and more, but I'm glad you like that because that one seemed, you like the Raiders on Monday night. They cover. Devontae Adams gets so mad he shoves a freelance cameraman on the way out the door. Now he's being charged with misdemeanor assault. Misdemeanor assault is what also Jeff Bezos should be charged with for foisting that shitty Thursday night football game last week with Broncos Colts on us.
Definitely. Can I say something? Watching that Amazon Thursday night game was like knowing a hurricane, and I don't want to say Ian, but let's say any hurricane like that around the Northeast we don't get, and you're waiting for the hurricane and the high winds, and you never get it.
Oh,
It
that's
was
a classic
dud.
Massachusetts. Like,
It
there could be 7-foot swells. The storm surge
exactly.
could be 20 feet. Everybody buy, milk and bread and cheese and eggs. Tape your windows shut. Head to the storm shelter. And then nothing happens. Or like,
Yeah, it was
they
a
keep
dud.
saying like there could be a ton of nor'easters coming up this winter. And I've seen the forecast of 50 inches of snow this
Oof.
winter. It
Well,
could
you know what
happen.
that
It may
means?
not.
You and I need to get down to Southern Florida, on the East Coast, maybe Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and do a live stream from like the Fontainebleau, right? Wouldn't that be
Listen,
nice?
you hook it up. I am already there, my guy. Though I feel badly for the west coast of Florida, which is
Yes.
a place near and dear to my heart. I love Fort Myers. I love the Naples area. Some of the best New England sports bars in the country are in Southern Florida. Like there's the Village Pump over in Fort Lauderdale, which is awesome. Foxborough Tavern in Naples is awesome. It's like the Fours on Canal Street that used to be open across from the Garden that sadly had to shutter during the pandemic, just in Southern Florida with gorgeous weather. It's an awesome freaking place, dude. Absolutely dynamite. I wish I could get down there and help out, but
I just love it. Anyways, I know we've got some. We have more winners. Listen, the dick pics have been on fire since we started renaming the dick pics. I think I was 3-1 2 weeks ago. You hit on almost all your props. You hit on like almost all your props. So later on in this stream, I've got one POD that's I'll be like Stu Finer. You got to lay big. You got to really get down on this. You got to lay the house. Go get a new mortgage. I don't care if interest rates are at 6%. Take the home equity line out and pound, because it's going to win.
That's what now don't have a stroke on this, but it's the same thing. If your dying gesture is to make sure that we can all win with this week's Hawk of the Week, then I want it. I want it so bad. Last week, on week 5, I didn't get a chance to share the props anywhere except maybe on the tweet machine. I thought the Pats were going to win. I thought it was going to be, everyone was talking about a point-a-palooza last week. I was really all in on, I had such a beautiful prop parlay going. I was in on Ramondre Stevenson over combined yards. Obviously, he more than doubled that because he had 160 yards. Oh, actually 170 with his receiving yards because freaking Damian Harris, who I tied all of my prop bets to.
I know.
Everyone said, hammer Harris.
Yeah.
Bet the farm, bet the animals, and go see if you can borrow your neighbor's farm on top of it. 4 carries, 11 yards, 1 catch for a couple yards, hamstring injury, second quarter, and then all my bets and money were out the window.
I think that's 2 weeks. Didn't you have Harris at Green Bay as well? I think you like that one. I know we talked about it because Harris was about 60 and Green Bay could give up some yards on the ground. And, I think Harris was the prop there. Anyways, there's probably no Damian Harris. I think he's out for a couple of weeks anyways.
Yeah, he was limited at practice Wednesday, but I think it's basically they don't have to put him on IR. He doesn't have to DNP, but I think they're going to rest him up. So you'll see a heavy load of Ramondre this week. Just FYI, Pat's props are on Underdog and across most wagering portals, if you will, aren't out yet. So because they got to wait until they decide on the quarterback first. So
Underdog Fantasy is picking up steam. Do you know how I know why? Because I got a random text from a fellow friend that's a bettor inviting me to some Underdog Fantasy like group challenge. So now it's coming in from now. Maybe he watched the live stream. Hopefully he signed up using the Fitzy code. But
must be nice.
I hear Underdog Fantasy everywhere now. Like they're on both sports stations in Boston. They're probably doing a lot of good things. Because to me, I think regular fantasy is kind of dead. Like it's just
Thank you. I am so with I was having a conversation. I was in New York City a couple of nights ago with some of my old chums, watching baseball, throwing darts, drinking lots of beer because that's what you do on a Tuesday night in New York City. And I was having the conversation with these guys like, I don't really feel fantasy anymore. Like I think I've played regular fantasy for 20 some odd years. It's not as much fun. Or rather it's like, it's fine, but like, I don't feel the same juice. However, parlays, teasers, prop bets, like small little bits of action. Like why spend $200 on a fantasy league with your friends when you're not going to bother talking smack, living on the message board the way we used to? give yourself a couple $100 budget and see if you can grow that money with a bunch of dumb bets like the ones that we throw out and about every week. I kind of feel like that's where it's at these days.
So one of the reasons, and you guys all know me that follow me, I have a fantasy sports app, Fantasy Spin. It's free to play, and hopefully it can be legal someday. But if you guys like slot machines, virtual slots, it meets daily fantasy, right? So basically, this spins all the players at random by position, and I don't know if you can see that. But then
we can see it, and that beautiful ring light that you have.
I know you can lock in. I know I'm going to do it. Anyways, if you guys want to play something for free and don't really want to gamble and you can win prizes, you can go to Fantasy Spin in either of the app stores. And maybe one day I'll do something with maybe Underdog Fantasy or some of the other gambling sites and make it legal, so all you slot machine players can get your fixed spinning players for fantasy sports.
All right, so let's talk about last week. Pats dominate the Lions 29-0. I was there. It was a glorious day for one and all. The throwbacks were everywhere. The stadium, it was like, it was like being in the 80s again. They should have just like everyone should have showed up in their Camaros, wearing their Z Cavariches and the bum equipment. Smoking should have been legal in the stadium. Everything should have been like pull top canned beers and everything else. It was awesome. And right from Jump Street, like the Lions go for it early on 4th down. They get denied. You can tell that Dan Campbell's going to be, he's going to be over aggressive, trying to get out there and drag in the deep water and bite your nuts and your butts or whatever. Belichick out coaches him. He's got coastal real estate in Jared Goff's head. Goff is absolutely Goffle on the Goffense all day long. Patriots defense suddenly got some teeth, kid. Matt Judon playing out of his mind, beyond as well as he played last season as well, mixing up coverages. My guy, Jack Jones, is legit. He is legit 2 weeks in a row. 2 big picks.
He's a player. He is a player. He's a player.
Like, we might have to rename this show Jack Jones's Big Picks, because that's all this guy does.
I like that. We can bring him on the triple box. Triple box?
Yeah, I'm sure Belichick would love him coming in. But considering that J.C. Jackson leaves for Los San Diego, gets 82.5 over 5. He's getting 16.5 million average annual. Not so super charges. And you got Jack Jones earning 1/35 of what he's making now and playing every bit as well, if not better so far, because JC was injured and Jack Jones is balling. Pats are firing on all the right cylinders now. And as we sit here Thursday around lunchtime, I can't tell you if it's going to be Bailey Zappe or Mac Jones on Sunday. I think it's going to be the Zappe attack. I think it's going to be another Zappe hour. I hope it is. As a matter of fact, I hope they don't play Mac Jones the next 2 games, because I think they can win Sunday in Cleveland. I know they can win Monday night against the Bears at home. Then you bring Mac Jones back in at the end of the month for the Jets games. He'll be fully healed up from the high ankle sprain. The McAnkle will be good enough to go. And Bailey Zappe will be a regional hero and a legend with a couple of dubs and 1 million puns under his belt.
How many years ago was it Tom Brady? And I hate when people, like when Zappe came in against Green Bay, Twitter blew up. I tweeted out, same thing happened. Backup QB, rookie, never stepped on the field in a regular season. Well, maybe Brady did the previous year, right? Didn't he? He had a snap in like that.
No, he didn't really play. He barely played in 2000.
Didn't he have a snap in like the Thanksgiving Day game at the end of the day, right? Yep. His first year, whatever. I was down on Mac Jones this year after seeing what he had done in that first few games. I've been very vocal about it. People said, no, you got to give him some more time. I didn't like his decisions. Whether or not he threw an interception or not, I didn't think he advanced in the decision making. Now, maybe you can call it on Josh leaving and him having to get used to a new offense or whatever. But for whatever reason, when we saw Bailey Zappe last week, I saw a different style quarterback that gave the Patriots that extra edge. And Zappe steps up, he avoids, he's quicker in the pocket. And even if his arm is at the same strength as Mac Jones, because Zappe really doesn't have a strong arm, okay?
No, he doesn't.
But you know what? Joe Montana didn't either, Okay, Joe Montana didn't have a strong
All
arm
right,
either.
just
Okay,
where I just want to let everybody know we
yeah.
are 15 minutes into this week's live stream. Dakota is already comparing Bailey Zappi to Joe Montana. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, I
On Dick
can't
Picks with Fitzy and
I can't compare him. I can't compare him to Tom Brady because he doesn't have the same skill set as Tom Brady.
No,
So I have to.
he's his own self. He's a tiny little gunslinger who's got heart, moxie, and big brass stones, and listens to his coach. As a matter of fact, I actually just found footage
Yeah.
this week of Bailey Zappi as a Pop Warner player. Take a look.
All right. I want to see it.
Damn right.
Was that you,
So
Fitzy?
no, that's some viral video that's going around right now of a 10-year-old who's
Yeah.
like tiny and has an absolute cannon for an arm. Like the kid is dropping 40-yard dimes at the age of 10. Looks like Danny Woodhead under center. My God, that kid. People are already joking like Nick Saban is going to be sending scouts on the sideline, signing him to a futures deal at Alabama.
So you know what's been good about this Patriot season? I was not the Patriots had not become appointment TV for me. Okay, they just looked lackluster in Miami. They haven't really looked good as a team. If Pittsburgh had any semblance of any type of NFL team and TJ Watt was still playing, they probably don't even beat Pittsburgh. Okay. I can't wait to watch Bailey Zappi go into Cleveland and either shoot down all my hopes, okay, or validate the next coming of the starting quarterback.
Hold on a second. Are you saying right now? I just want to get this clear in case we can actually fold into the budget one day. The budget of $0.00, and you pay me to host these in free T-shirts, which I love, by the way. This one is hot, and I golfed in the Swing Juice shirt this week. Fantastic. Never felt better, sexier, or cleaner. What a kit! What a kit! What a look.
Like to hear it.
Just want to make sure.
Yep.
You're saying you want Bailey Zappi to win the starting quarterback job because Bill Belichick this week refused to commit. He's like, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. We're not. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sorry, Coach. We just want to know, how Mac is feeling and if he's going to. Okay. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. You make our lives so much better. God bless you. We love you. And Stephen Tower, regular viewer here on the program. Watch out. The hot take police have entered the chat. That's right.
That's fine. And you know what?
Lieutenant Dakota Happus, hot take police.
Hey, I was a handful of people that when Tom Brady came in and saw what he did in that offense, just dink and dunk Tom in the first couple of games, we all said, well, some of us said, Tom Brady should be the starter over Drew Bledsoe because we had enough of a sample size of Drew Bledsoe that it just didn't look right. The team didn't respond. And when Tom Brady came in that first year, it was like he did what the coaches wanted him to do. And if we trust Bill Belichick as being the genius, and we trust Matt Patricia, who was an excellent coach before he went to be head coach, and Joe Judge, same thing. You've got head coaches. Why are you saying this? Listen,
because in 2017, Matt Patricia and his genius defense, he had Steph Gilmore and freaking zone half the season. The defense sucked on Rye. Brian Flores did 10 times more of them the next year. And he was awful in Detroit. Now, I think he's probably doing his best coaching work now,
correct.
Actually.
And I said this earlier. I hated the fact that people are looking at their head coaching success to deem whether or not they were going to be good in the current roles that they were. And I said it early on, give these guys an opportunity. And I'm telling you right now, you could see it in the coaching staff because football is all about a game plan, preparation. I know I didn't play beyond high school, but I'm telling you, all you did all week practicing in high school football was prepare. How are you going to execute? What plays you're going to run? What are you going to do on offense? What are you going to do on defense? Football, that's why coaching in football matters more than any other sport, okay? And if Bailey Zappi is going to take what the coaches deem as the best chance to execute to either move the ball down the field or stop the other team from scoring, the Patriots are going to put the quarterback that gives him that best opportunity. And especially Mac Jones is turning the ball over. The last thing that Bill Belichick wants to see is turnovers. And Bailey Zappe turned the ball over only because of Nelson Aguilar dropped it right in his arms. So I don't know if you mentioned it or somebody else. Those interceptions need to go on receivers. They should not go on quarterbacks. But
that was my take. Yeah,
yes,
Nelson Aguilar's pick last week should not be on Bailey Zappe. They need a new category. I don't give a flying fuck if you call it Aguilar.
What are you going to call it?
Nelson has 2 Aguilars on the season, where or you call him Jonnu Smiths, where you bump set, spike it up, or just like whoa, and you just you pull one of these, but with the ball when the quarterback throws it right to you. Because that's exactly what Nelson Aguilar did last week. That pick isn't on Bailey Zappe. Zappe last week, 17-21, a $188, a touchdown.
Joe Montana-esque.
See, I'm with Greg Donahue. Bill Belichick does what's in the best interest of the TEAM team.
It's best interest of football team.
Appreciate that.
There's no J for Jones and team there. So, Mac, you're out.
You're out. No. Hold on, wait, hold on. I'm all for any kind of fan watching any kind of live stream, game, video, whatever. As a matter of fact, I take joy in the compliments we receive from outside of Pat's Nation, New England and 495. But where you hiding? Hashtag Fly Eagles Fly. Bad news. Watch out, Eagles, on Sunday night. The Cooper Rush is coming to town, and the Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. And the Cowboys, how about them Cowboys? And Micah Parsons, the best player in the NFL, are going to shock Philadelphia. Hide your cheesesteaks and hide your wives. Cowboys are winning outright Sunday night.
Well, I am going to hope for that because, as I mentioned on this show, I did play NFC Dallas to win the NFC this year and to win the Super Bowl. So I am a big Dallas believer. Yeah,
you better make your money back because that 10 grand you bet on Pittsburgh to get over 7.5 wins. Yeah. Collar of shame. Wear it, own it, live in it, sit in it. Awful. Awful.
I want to be like a chipmunk right now in my backyard and go crawl under the ground. Hey, you can't win them all. You can't win them all.
Here's a very good point from Brian, who's watching live on YouTube right now. They're not being asked to run the same offense, though. Zappe threw about 4 of those 20 throws over 10 yards. I agree. And here's my big whole thing that others have talked about on TV and the interweb. I've made point of on the podcast. I'll say it again on WEEI this weekend as well. The best thing that can happen, the best thing, I'm going to call this segment Fansplaining with Fitzy, where I mansplain as a football fan what the best thing is. And I want everyone to get it and understand it and lock it in, all right? The best thing that can happen to the New England Patriots right now is that they dial back the 50-50 balls or 80-20s, as Devontae Parker called them. 80-20 is how I like to get my ground beef when I'm making patty melts and smash burgers. I don't want to throw those kind of risky passes right now when you don't have the best receiving core, and Mac Jones is going under an offensive coordinator transition, play calling, playbook, rotation, whatever you want to call it. Things are changing. And what's happened with the Mac Jones ankle injury is they've dialed the playbook back and they've gone, Dakota, to traditional Patriots football, resembling what they ran last year, which kind of resembles the Belichick, McDaniels, Earhart, Perkins, whatever offense you want to call this Patriots playbook of the past 25 years. They're doing smash mouth football, the offensive line, outside toss crack, zone blocking, up the gut, wham, jam, whatever. Thank you, ma'am. Whatever you want to call the freaking run plays with play action and risk aversion pass plays out in the flat, over the middle, screens, etc. It's working. They're playing to their strengths. So aside from not getting the ball in the hands of Kendrick Bourne often enough, what they're doing is working.
Now I can see clearly now. Okay.
Seriously, like stick with it. And when Mac comes back, do the same friggin' thing.
No, I don't want Mac back. Out on Mac. I'm telling you, Bailey needs to go into Cleveland. Bailey needs to go into Cleveland and beat them. This team rallies around this kid. I'm not sure why they don't rally around Mac Jones, okay? The kid gloves came off on Mac in the first few games this year, and you know what? Mac couldn't handle it. So you know what? We're going to we're going to let Bailey Zappe do it by default and give him as much rope as it is, because you never know. You just never know that if Bailey Zappe is better for this team, and you have to give him that opportunity, because I don't care if it's Detroit. The kid played in Green Bay, his first snaps, the first time that he's ever dressed for an NFL game.
Walking around with stones.
And Fitzy,
he had a couple of Bailey Zappe.
Fitzy, do you realize they were one play away of beating Green Bay in overtime?
Matt Patricia, if your boyfriend,
I get it.
Matt, if your new football crush,
I get it. They should have passed
on second and 5. Yes,
they should. I agree with you. I was not happy. Okay, and then they put Zappe in a position on 3rd and 5 that you have to make it, and Green Bay dialed up their defense and couldn't deal with it. Okay, but I'm telling you, if Bailey Zappe, let's just play this what if game. Let's just say Patricia allowed
I apologize to everybody that just had to. I apologize for nothing. This is a silly live stream where we just have a good time. Oh, and by the way, yep, that's it. Everyone's done with it now, Dakota. They can't stop it, says Kane Mark 45, who's watching live on YouTube right now. Hold on. This is my favorite. Wait, where is it right now? Hold on. This is a great point by Rob Francois, and he's correct too. There's a nice piece right now at Nesson.com. Obviously, I always like to pimp out WEEI.com because there's great football writers and minds there as well. But Nesson.com, Zach Cox, who's a great follow, has a piece on why Jacoby Myers is like quietly becoming one of the best receivers in the league. It's his 4th year. He's slower than frozen shit going down the drain and molasses climbing a hill in the winter, but yet always gets open, has great hands. Also sneakily throws the best deep ball on the Patriots. I'm with you, Rob Francois. Jacoby will thrive if it stays this way. Like he and Bailey Zappe last week, like they've never really played together before. Wham! Instant connection. Like we're talking about the kind of Bluetooth headphones that just pair up right out of the box, and you don't have to fuck around with your iPhone for a half an hour just so you can walk around without any cords and make a call that no one gives a shit about hearing in public.
You're going to need Jacoby Myers. Let me just tell you that. I'm not a fan of Jacoby Myers. Do you know why? Okay. Because I let analytical data tell me. And Jacoby Myers, out of all wide receivers in the slot position last year in efficiency, ranked, I think, 27th in slot receiver efficiency.
Hey, Chris Ming wants to know do you have your Zappe jersey yet?
Not yet, but I still have my Kyler Murray jersey.
Oh my God. Hey, when you put, by the way, I'm very curious.
Here's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
When you wear your Kyler Murray jersey, do you just run around for a hunt? Do you put it on and do you just run around for an hour for no reason, then finally throw a pass?
No, what I do is I grab my game controllers and then wear my game shirt. So when I'm gaming,
you see mine back there over my shoulder that last week.
The Doug Flutie.
Oh, see, very nice. Most people went with all the different 22s the Patriots have had, like Asante Samuel, Stephen Ridley, Terrence Wheatley, currently Cody Davis. It's for 2022. The Pats gave me that to wear on the Jumbotron when I do all of my in stadium things. It's nice. It's a nice look.
I like it. It's
fresh.
It's a nice. Next week we're going to have Bob Kraft on, right? He's going to be joining us on next Thursday at noon, right?
Mr. Kraft, yes, he will be. Actually, he's too busy taking victory laps for being the best owner in sports. The best
Jonathan.
Jonathan, give another $50 million to Mass General. See that he did this week? The best owner in sports gave $50 million to Mass General to make sure that people that couldn't afford their health care and get the procedures and care and treatment they need. That's what the best owner in sports and the best people do. I digress. I love Mr. Kraft. Kingpin 69 wants to know. Look, I mean, the iconic villain from the Spider-Verse. He wants to know, so is Dakota actually making this idiotic argument, or is this like First Take where Fitzy won the coin toss? And I get to
look at you. You have to listen. I know some of these people.
Good on you.
If you guys have heard me at all ever over 20 years on sports radio in Boston, I don't take a side just to take a side. Now I could
Dakota with the landline, they call you.
I can be completely wrong with my take, and that's okay. But it comes from the heart. It becomes what I believe. Sometimes I look really smart, and sometimes I look really stupid. But you know what? In this situation, I don't know yet. I hope I'm right because I like Bailey Zappi. And I was a Mac Jones guy last year. I wasn't like a wiggy that hated on Mac Jones. I thought Mac Jones in his rookie year played well, and I was excited to see him take a step forward this season. And you know what? From what I saw was regression, making poor decisions. And Bailey Zappi, to me, again, I'm 50% in on Zappi. I need to see how he does in a second start on the road against a Cleveland team that's quasi playoff team, like other than their quarterback. So if he goes into Cleveland, plays well, and is maybe the reason that they win, I think you seriously have to give this kid a little bit of a more rope to see if he can provide a better result for this team. I really,
do you think we're going to play two? They're going to play two. They'll never do two quarterbacks because if there ever was a time, it would have been with Mac and Cam last season. Speaking of which, here's a new segment on the show called Something No One Is Saying. Bill Cooper, bring back Cam.
No, God, no. No, don't do that. But, you know, and I think I mentioned this also before. I know I compared him to kind of Joe Montana. That might be a stretch. I think physically it's Joe Montana, but Jimmy Garoppolo is the type of quarterback that Bill likes running his offense. Bailey Zappi has a lot of Jimmy G to him, and I think Bailey Zappi's a little bit more tougher. So if you could ever get
Mac Jones is plenty tough, dude. He got hit a couple times last season where I thought we were literally going to watch.
But like Mac Jones does not drop back, fake handoff, the handoffs, the throws, the move in the pocket, all those quarterback mannerisms, let's call them, okay? Mac Jones is nothing like Jimmy Garoppolo. Bailey Zappi has the quarterback mannerisms like Jimmy Garoppolo, like Joe Montana.
So Jimmy is just like, because we all know, like, how's it feel, baby? How's it feel, Jimmy? Feels great, baby. Like Jimmy Garoppolo is like the definition of, first, it's just so handsome it hurts. I still love rooting for him, and watching him throw touchdown passes to Deebo Samuel on Monday Night Football was an ice pick to the you-know-where, because it was like, that was supposed to be our future, son of a bitch. That said, I one thing I do love that Bailey Zappi does, he's great on play action. He's very consistent. His handoff looks just like his play action. He's got smooth moves. And this is for a kid who was at Houston Baptist a couple years ago. Last year gets his way to the football powerhouse that is Western Kentucky, and then throws 6,000 yards and 62 touchdowns. Like, it is an all-American story. Like, literally, it should be like coming up this Friday on the Football Channel. It's the story of a wonder kid who went from nowhere to somewhere overnight under the guidance of the sleeveless genius. Who can Harry Styles is Bailey Zappi in Zappi Hour, the story of Bailey Zappi. Like, it's unbelievable what this kid has done. But first, I want to point out something. Good comment here. I'm not sure if we got some Brownie fans in the house, or maybe Eric Lynch watching live on the YouTubes knows his football. Zappi could have trouble in Cleveland as we look to the Sunday game if they play more man defense. Denzel Ward is dangerous, and Martin Emerson is a badass rookie. Agree with you. I've been doing my deep dive and due diligence prepping for the Sunday game. Eric, one, the defensive coordinator, I forget, Joe something or other. It's a very, very vanilla yogurt name. He's been calling more zone in Cleveland because their rush defense sucks, and they can't get the same pressure because Clowney and Myles Garrett have both been injured. One of them's got a bad ankle. The other flipped a Porsche at 100 miles an hour. So they've been playing more zone. Ward also has a concussion this week. So Patriots, if they're ever going to have a chance to go in and run play action and assert their will, it's going to be Sunday, where they take their top 5 rushing attack and go against the 28th worst or 4th worst 28th ranked rush defense of Cleveland on Sunday. But he does have a good point there.
Well, if let's say that does happen in this game, you know what we're going to see out of Bailey Zappi?
What are we going to see Sunday?
A lot of rushing yards from Bailey Zappi. And I think you're going to
see that. Ooh, that would be a fun prop to take. Maybe I don't know what the 10.5 rush yards. Okay.
Oh, I would go over that in a heartbeat, because don't forget, there was a few plays that he had a lot of room to run in that last game. So if it's 10.5, go over the rushing yards. Right now, where's the lumber? Lay the lumber on that if it's 10.5. Because Bailey Zappi's a mobile quarterback. He's not like Mac Jones. He will.
Mac
He
also,
will
hold
run.
on. Mac
Oh,
is not like Drew Bledsoe. He's not a giraffe on stilts, as Dan Shaughnessy once called. I believe it was Shaughnessy who once said that Bledsoe moved around like a giraffe on stilts.
Yeah.
And I agree. Also, Billy Gargano, thank you for the comment. Watching live on the YouTubes right now. It is Mondre season. That's really what the story is all about. And maybe if last Sunday, Andy Hart's been saying this for a long time. Like Damian Harris is a good running back, but he kind of does. He's a one cut wonder. Like, give me the ball, I'll make one move, and I'll just try to power through because he's a quadzilla. Ramondre Stevenson has he moves around like he's got a little Le'Veon Bell to him. He's a smaller beast mode. He loves running the outside zone, but he can power up the gut. He's knocked a couple people on their ass as well. He had 26 carries last Sunday because he was the only back. I don't know who's going to back him up this week. I don't know if it's going to be Pierre Strong or if they elevate JJ Taylor.
Yeah, probably Taylor, right? Yeah.
I would think so. Eric Lynch, also another good comment. Zapper doesn't need to do shit. Run it up the gut against us. Okay, yeah, exactly, because the defensive tackles. Yeah, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. I mean, they just don't have much as far as rush defense goes in Cleveland. So, and if you're going to go back to Mac, let's say Belichick is just playing the media for fun, narrative, clicks, and interest, because there's definitely, I'll give you this, Dakota, there's way more juice right now in the Patriots season with the Bailey Zappe storyline. In just 2 weeks' time,
sure. I know
we went from a Patriots season, to quote the great Mikey Adams, that could have been flatter than a plate of piss.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden now, like, there's national interest. The kid is the story. It's Zappe hour. It's if you're Zappe and you know it, clap your hands. The Zap attack. I insert a million different Bailey Zappe puns. I'm loving it. I am too. But to think that he could take the job over and a healthy Mac would sit out the season and they would ride the Zapper, I can't imagine.
It can happen. It can happen. It can listen. I can't stand here. Now, listen, if he goes into Cleveland and falls on his face, right, and we get blown out and Bailey just can't handle the situation, then you know what? Let's get Mac back here. Give Mac another opportunity. And if Mac slips up again, Bailey proves himself, hey, another shot, that's fine. But I'm telling you, I have more. The line is only what, 2.5 that Cleveland's favored by right now.
Mm-hmm.
If this line, they're giving a lot of credit to Bailey Zappe. Vegas is, okay? Third string quarterback going into Cleveland on a Cleveland team that went toe to toe with the Chargers. Should have beat the Chargers, by the way. They you know
how bad, they're 2-3 on the season. And I had a chance to talk to this guy, Daryl Ryder, who works for 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland, to gear up for the Six Rings podcast. And they basically needed to go 4-1 or 5-0 during this stretch of the season and beat the Patriots Sunday I call it like the fattening up for the winter, because they have a brutal stretch. The 5 games before Deshaun Watson comes back in are they play 5 playoff teams. So they lose Sunday, Cleveland season. It's over. It's over, kid.
I don't know.
It's over. But they blew the game against the Jets, up 30-17 with 1:50 left in the game, and you lose to Joe Flacco and give up 2 last-minute touchdowns. You're up a couple scores against Atlanta and Atlanta. Blow that one. Last week, you're up 14-0, and then you have a chance to win it, and Jacoby throws a red zone pick with less than 3 minutes left. They're their own worst enemy. And so the Patriots need to just make sure that they play more of this smart ball control, turnover averse football. And guess what?
So
they can win.
Fitzy, you were a lot of practices in the preseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were down there quite a bit. When Bailey Zappe was taking his snaps, usually it's the other rookies that he's paired with, right? Was Tyquan the receiver? What do you mean? What did I say? I said
just for no reason. Kingpin 69 chimes in, scratching my lowest common denominator itch because I'm 7 years old. Flacco rhymes with snacko.
Okay. Anyways,
Andy Hart. To your point, I'll do it. I'll finish. We'll finish the sentence for you. Andy Hart told me, and I laughed at it.
Yeah.
Not just because he and I love busting each other's footballs, but he said during training camp in the preseason, the quarterback who looks the best, most fluid, and comfortable with this reconfigured, slightly tinkered Patriots offense is Bailey Zappe. And we were all like, oh, Andy, stop.
Well, this is the same thing that happened the year that Brady ended up playing, because that year people like Andy Hart was saying Tom Brady has been the best quarterback in camp. If you remember, that was being said by the Patriots writers that were there during the preseason all the time. So I guess my point is, I was going back. If he has, and this goes back to the props again, if they ever come up, that maybe Taekwon, his total going over, since he had a lot of reps in preseason, and they did try to force Taekwon the ball last week. Maybe he's maybe he's the 8 catch, 88 yards this week. You know, I mean,
I would love nothing more. The first time they get this guy the ball in space, they run one of those like 15-yard, like he was the master at Baylor of like, they didn't like throw a lot of like bombs to him because he's got crazy straight line speed, but they would try these like 15-yard in cuts and try to hit him as he was crossing. So picking up speed as he caught the ball. And once he did, and Cleveland's been running a lot of zone. If they can get Thornton the ball over the middle, like 10, 12 yards in, where he's already in third or fourth gear, if that kid can turn on the Jets, Pats fans will literally, like, I will leave a trail of previous me behind me. Like, I will be a puddle because we haven't seen game-changing, game-breaking. Yeah, I saw it. Pitch and catch.
Pitch and catch, just pitch and catch. And I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait for Sunday at 1:00. I can't wait. Hopefully
I am as fired up as you are, because you know what? When you sit here and you just throw some ideas around and you know you open your mind to various possibilities, you never know.
Yeah.
See, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Yeah, so, we're gonna find out. We're gonna fuck around, and we're gonna find out.
We just did the fuck around. That's our Patriots preview Sunday. We're gonna find out. Now, Dakota, you were accused of having a terrible take by saying
my ex-wife. She accused me. My ex-wife.
No, I think you said that Bailey Zappe was part Brady, part Montana. I think that.
No, I didn't mean Brady. I said Garoppolo in Montana. That's what I said.
Oh, Garoppatana. He's Montana. We'll call him Montampolo. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's even good. Yeah.
However, I did need to share this real quick before we get into our best bets and wrap up here.
Okay.
This, I'm going to always try to keep tabs on this. This was the worst take of the week. This was the other day. Kimberly Martin on Get Up on ESPN.
Just being mediocre in the middle of the pack doesn't help you. Be terrible. Get a high draft pick. Like, you got to think about the rebuild. Honestly, you got to think about the rebuild. With the Giants, there's a future beyond just this season. And with so many question marks, them making the playoffs is great for the fans and our staff. I love it. But then a lot of questions need to be answered.
Is Daniel Jones there?
She literally suggested the New York Giants, who are part of the football tandem that has taken over the biggest city in America. One of the fun storylines with Brian Daboll, our old pal from Buffalo, and of course with the Patriots for years, suggesting that at 4-1, even though everyone thinks they're playing above their pay grade and beyond, well beyond expectations, that this is cute, but winning football games now is not helping the organization for the future. They should be more terrible. That'll be the new tagline of the show. And that they should stop winning games now because it's hurting the development of the Giants' future.
Okay. Well, one, I love her nails. I'm a big fan of those yellow, high gloss shellac nails that she had. So shout out to her for yellow. I actually think they should trade Barkley. I really do. Get rid of him and send, because they're not going to re-sign him, and you don't want to sign a big running back.
Of course you do. He's he's having a career resurgence. What are you, nuts?
Now you trade him. You end up trading him. And what you end up doing is go get Damian Harris. Go offer Bill, because Damian Harris isn't going to be here after this year. Go offer something small for Damian Harris. Get Damian Harris in there and trade away Saquon Barkley. Build for the future. Daboll's got the team on the right track. Listen, the Giants might make the playoffs, but they're going to do the same thing the Patriots did. They're one and done in the playoffs. So I'm okay with listen, the Giants before the season started, the total was 7.5. You and I both laughed at Vegas with 7.5 win total. Okay. Now they're 4-1. We should have just basically.
This is the Daboll. We massively disrespected and underrated Brian Daboll's contribution. And by the way, Daniel Jones is the backup running back on the team, and or the
Yeah,
auxiliary
he's
back. They don't have a
he's
quarterback.
good.
They're running like a
He's
wing
good.
T.
And you know what? Green Bay is not that good. Okay, so let's see.
No,
the
that's
Giant.
the takeaway. We should have beat
Green
the
Bay's
friggin' Packers the week before.
exactly, and you can blame that on my spaceship guy, Matt Patricia, or
we'll call him Spaceship Guy. Yeah, exactly. Good question from Greg Donahue as we transition into our best bets and whatnot. Is tonight going to be the worst game ever? So
Probably
last
not.
week, Colts at Broncos was the game so bad that Robert Griffin III went viral for suggesting Amazon give everyone a free year of Prime for making us sit through that absolute hog fuck of a game. That was just such a shit show on ice. Now it's Commandos at Bears. Two teams nobody would watch unless you are from the area or you have a bet. So obviously neither of us are from those particular areas, so we've got to bet on this game.
I love everything about the Washington Commandos. Yes, the Commandos offense, except Carson Wentz. If they actually had a quarterback between their offensive skill set at running back, tight end, wide receiver, they would be one of the best offenses in the league. They can't stop anybody. So to me, the game's probably over. If somebody wanted to bet the game tonight and root for something on two bad teams, just bet the over. I don't even know what the number is. It's probably like 43.
I'll tell you right
45.
now, it's probably not even that high. Dude, it's 38.
Wow. Yeah, see, Washington will give up points.
Washington is currently a 1-point favorite, and the over-under is 38.
How's the weather tonight? That might be a fact. Maybe it's like Ian's sister or something's going through Chicago.
Yeah, Ian's. I know weather's a factor everywhere. By the way, weather
That's
Sunday
Iana.
in Cleveland. Weather Sunday in Cleveland is going to be like partly cloudy, lovely, autumnal, 59. So weather will not be a factor.
Perfect. It's Bailey Zappe weather.
It's BZ Dubs, Bailey Zappe weather. Perfect time to get into the prop shop. I'll give you my best prop plays of the week because I do have one that I like tonight as well. I'm thinking about maybe doing an idiotic teaser between like the Commandos and the if you can bet that under down to 32.
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
Washington and the over. Is that what you're going with?
I might be going Washington and the over for the hell of it, but the prop shop this week, here we go.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, 48.5 receiving yards tonight versus the Bears. Terry McLaurin will draw the top coverage. Diami Brown, Jahan Dotson will not play for the Commandos. Diami Brown, their number 3 receiver, is also banged up.
Logan Thomas playing?
What's that? Yes.
Is Logan Thomas playing?
But Curtis Samuel has gotten a nice target share the last couple of weeks. Asking him to get like 4 or 5 catches, maybe 1 or 2 in space, letting him use his natural talent for gaining yards at or just behind the line of scrimmage. He can get 49 in his sleep tonight. Then, as you look into the weekend, because there are a lot of games that don't have props out just yet because there's quarterback questions in Miami, New England, and beyond, I love Najee Harris under 59.5 combined yards against that stout Tampa Bay defensive line. It's Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett at Tampa on Sunday. They're getting Jaylen Warren more involved because he's the better back.
Here's the problem with that, Najee Harris.
I don't see Najee getting 60 yards on Sunday.
Here's the problem with that. Najee might just get a lot of those rushing yards when they're behind, when they're in this like prevent defense.
It'll be all Jaylen Warren. It'll be all Jaylen. Like last Sunday, he didn't do shit when they lost by 35 to Buffalo.
I get it. I don't know. I listen. Good luck to you. It's not for me. Okay. You know, if you want to put your
favors the bold.
We'll see.
Join me for a beer and a dog at the Turnip. Right. And then actually, these are for you. Yeah. I love the over Sunday in Cardinals at Seahawks because Geno Smith has somehow become like the hottest thing in town because everyone wrote him off and he ain't wrote back. I hope he don't ever.
I picked him up for my season-long fantasy team, and he's doing well for me.
People have been every fantasy show under the sun has been advising you do just as much because the Russell Wilsons and the Trevor Lawrences and the others, and even the Bradys at times have been massively disappointing. I got Kyler Murray over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and the recipient of that will be Rondale Moore, who's looking for a big week in the final week before D-Hop comes back from his 6-game suspension. Give me the over 45.5 yards for Rondale Moore on Sunday.
I'm a big fan of Rondale Moore. Listen, Arizona, just think they had Christian Kirk, and Kirk, out of that slot position. He was ranked one, as I mentioned, Jacoby Myers last year was ranked near the bottom of all slot receivers. Christian Kirk was ranked at the top. They lost him. They don't have D-Hop. It's a struggle. It's a little bit of a struggle. They need Rondell Moore. They were expecting this guy to do something last year. He's shown flashes of it, but they had so many offensive weapons. He just didn't get the reps. He's going to get the reps now. I have him benched actually on my fantasy, my season-long fantasy. I may start him this week. So I kind of like the over in the Rondell Moore because I think now you're deeper into the season and he's going to have to perform for that offense. So
All right,
I like another more though. I like
Rob Francois has the bet of the night. He'll be betting that most of us will be asleep by half.
No. I'll take the over on that. I'll take the over. I bet you
Same here. I love considering I work on Sundays,
some of the third quarter.
Thursday night football,
I guarantee.
Thursday football is fun for me.
Mr.
Dakota,
Mr.
you
Roger
told me pre-show
LaFrancois.
again. What is your prop of the week again?
So I like the other Moore, Elijah Moore for the New York Jets. And on Underdog Fantasy, I think his projected fantasy points are 7.1. I like
It's
the
7.75. Yes.
7.75. So I like the over fantasy points for Elijah Moore. Last year, when Zach Wilson was healthy, he was one of his targets. He had a big year. He's been slow this year because Zach hasn't, played. He's back now. So I would go with Elijah Moore on the over 7 3/4 fantasy points.
All right. Are you
Bet
ready?
the house, take a mortgage, win.
All right. New segment here on the show. So, all right. So I gave you my props of the week one more time. My props: Curtis Samuel over 48.5 yards against the Bears. Najee Harris under 59.5 total yards. Kyler Murray over a passing touchdown and a half. Rondell Moore over 45.5 Sunday in Seattle. All right. Here comes, just because it's fun doing this thing. Thank you once again, Underdog Fantasy. Register today, promo code Fitzy, $100 match back on your initial deposit. Now it's time for a little segment I call FUPA. That's right. It's Fitzy's Underdog Parlay Action. And that's definitely not what FUPA stands for. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Sunday, outright. I'm going to do Jets money line, Cowboys money line, and Monday night Broncos money line. I think the Jets can beat Green Bay. Green Bay is playing terribly.
Stop.
I think the Cowboys win outright.
Stop.
And Monday night, don't be surprised in the Melvin Gordon revenge game against the third worst rushing defense, the
I don't think
Chargers.
Melvin Gordon can have a revenge game. All right. He's not that good to have a revenge game. I'm sorry.
Javonte Williams is out.
Oh,
He ruined everyone's fantasy team. That's right.
Stop. Look at.
What do you mean?
How much would that pay? $100 bet on those three? Was it 3 underdogs? Right? What does it pay if you punch it into the parlay calculator? What are the odds you're going to get? You must be getting like 20 to 1.
Hold on one second.
A $100 bet must at least pay out 2,000. While you're doing that, I'm going to tell everybody my play of the week. And this is just as strong as I love the Raiders on Monday night over Kansas City last week. And the week before that, I had 4 picks for you guys. I went 3-1. The only loser was Washington at Dallas. I had Tennessee over Indy. Cha-ching. I had Arizona over Carolina. Cha-ching. And New England, the +10 over Green Bay. Thanks to Bailey Zappe. Cha-ching. So I'm on a heater right now. 4-1, including last week. And I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 2.5 points. I'm going to buy it up to 3 and pay the extra juice to beat the Colts. So that's it. I don't like multiple. I just like one game. So go down to the bank, take that extra mortgage on the house, and all you're going to do is win, win, win.
I love it. By the way, the DraftKings calculator told me I would get, if I placed that 3-pick parlay of Jets money line, Cowboys money line, and Broncos money line, plus 35.96.
Woo! All right, might as well do it then. It's not going to happen. Hey, I'll book the bet. You bet the $100 with me, and I'll pay you $3,500 in swing juice gear.
How many freaking golf shirts do you think I need?
I'll send you the top stuff.
Here's a question from one of our regular viewers here, Robert Lewis Steele the fourth. He comes from a long line of Steele. Do you like Curtis Samuel or Jeff Wilson in my flex? Ooh, I think I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson only because he's the primary rock toter for San Francisco. And if it's Debo Samuel, even though I like Curtis Samuel tonight, burning a flex on a Thursday night in a questionable game. I like it as a flyer for a prop. I don't feel that good about it. And if it's Debo, I don't always like doing that on a Thursday. And if it's Debo for Sunday, I'd rather take Jeff Wilson because Debo doesn't get Jeff Wilson's got a better matchup.
Always take the running back over the receiver in the flex. If you know the running back is an RB1, it's just because you never know that receiver has to hopefully, 1, be open, 2, get the quarterback to throw him the ball, and then 3, catch the ball. Where a running back, you just need to hand it off and hopefully he gains yards. It's a lot easier, I think, from a running back standpoint, especially if Jeff Wilson, who is, should do pretty well. I'd much rather have Jeff Wilson this week.
Yeah, same. All right, so your lock of the week is Jacksonville plus 2.5 at Don't Win Indianapolis. Their luckiest win last week in the world with the shittiest coaching of all time from Nathaniel Hackett, who obviously can't do what his last name says. And I'll give you this one as we part ways, my friend. It's a weekly tradition at this point now on Dick Picks. Fitzy's idiotic 3-team teaser of the week. I'll take the Pats at the Browns. That buys the Patriots in a classic 6-point tease up to plus 8.5.
I like that.
Over on Bills at Chiefs. It takes it down to 48 in what's guaranteed to be a shootout. And give me the Cowboys. That bumps the Cowboys up to 12.5, a familiar number in Patriots Nation.
Not bad. Yeah, the only one I'm uncertain about is the that Kansas City Buffalo game. It's just weird. Sometimes 2 great offensive teams, sometimes they just the game just kind of slows down. There's a turnover, in the red zone, that wasted possessions. I get it, right? On paper, that one looks easy. That's the one that I'd be concerned with.
Same here. I have faith in the offenses. I think Kansas City will be able to put up. I think each team can put up 24.
Why don't you tie that in? Forget about that total. Why don't you tie it into tonight's total and go over tonight's over-under? Because that's a lower number. That brings it down to 32, right?
Yeah, but there's a chance also tonight is 13-10.
That's not going to – Washington can't stop anybody.
That's true, even if it's Justin Fields. I know, and the Bears can sort of, but at the same time, Carson Wentz is just going to be throwing all night long.
Yeah, and Justin Fields, whatever his rushing,
all he does is run
over.
Take whatever his rushing prop is every week. Just the over. You'll literally never lose. He might have 850 yards rushing this season and be like a top 10 running back in the NFC. Cowboys win on Sunday night. They become the NFC favorite for the Super Bowl. I knew a guy who was such a degenerate gambler. He named his 2 dogs over and under. That's freaking awesome.
Actually, I kind of like that.
Ooh, John Daniels is with you. Trap game for the betting on the Bills Chiefs game on Sunday.
Well,
I'm with you. Well, I mean, that's okay.
Well, wait a minute. Trap games are usually on a side though, not on a total.
I know, but I think the world is thinking because of the 800 points scored in the final couple minutes of the fourth quarter of that insane division game. I got you. I see that. Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Just like you won on the Raiders last Monday, Dakota. The world was on the Chiefs clobbering the Raiders, and the Raiders barely lost.
Raiders should have won that game. They should have won that game.
They should have. That was hot shit.
All right, you on the radio tonight? When are you on, Fitzy? So I can listen to you instead of not yelling at you.
Yeah, tonight I'm on 6:45 to 7:30 with the Mutt Man, getting you pumped and primed for Patriots football leading into Thursday Night Football coverage. Saturday 1 to 4 with Andy Hart on the 6 Rings Saturday, and of course I'll be on Sunday right after the conclusion of Pats at Brownies 4 to 7:30 with the 6 Rings post game show.
And this was fun. And don't forget, this is the first week that we're going to start doing this. So all the viewers, send us your dick pics, either at our Twitter handles or at Instagram.
Okay, once again, your D picks would be, of course, your best picks of the week. I cannot stress enough that those would be your best bets of the week. All right. Before everything that resembles a broadcast license, a career, or a reputation,
I'm here to ruin your career,
blown up and ruined. Please, nobody's better at doing that than I am. He's the cash bomb at Dakota Happus. Of course, you can follow me, keep in touch at FitzyGFY. As always, every Thursday, tell your friends, swing on by the Dick Picks Lounge for a good time. Prop bets, parlays, teasers, fupas. You know it, all brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Dakota, I will talk to you soon, my guy. Great job today. Visit swingjuice.com
Pleasure as always,
for the best
Fitzy.
golf and sports gear. Thank you, my friend. Good day, good luck, God bless. Go get a drink, and as always, go Pats.
Go Zappe.
Brady Montana. Unfreaking believable.
No, it's not Brady Montana. Montana and Garoppolo.
Oh, Montanpolo. That's right.
Yeah, Montanpolo. Actually, that's a